Hey, what's going on everyone? Axel here, back for another video. In this video, I want to give my updated tier list and also discuss the meta that we've seen thus far in patch 1.1.6. And the meta has changed a lot. We've seen some big fluctuations. We've seen further development of characters after some nerfs from 1.1.5. We've seen some characters go down, we've seen some shoot up, and we've also seen the impact of the Bayonetta nerfs in patch 1.1.6. In this video, I'm also going to give my updated tier list because my opinions have changed a lot, especially Zero's return has changed a lot, and just some players who've been doing well recently and some who've not been doing so well. And so let's go ahead and start with what I think of the top tiers right now. I think I'll just go ahead and put the first two because I think they're pretty close. I think the two best characters in the game currently are Cloud and Diddy Kong. And we see them kind of, not Cloud so much, but Diddy Kong especially. We've seen him kind of rise more towards the top, not due to anything that he's done or advances to that character's meta, but more so to nerfs to other characters like Sheik and Zero Suit. Especially those two characters have really allowed Diddy Kong to kind of come up here to the top. And then Cloud, I think he is the best character currently. I don't think it's by a lot. I actually think the top tiers are getting to be pretty balanced within themselves. I'm not saying the cast as a whole is balanced. It's certainly not. But I think as far as there's no definitive top character. Now, I think Cloud's is the best, but you could certainly argue Diddy, and you could argue a few other characters as well, I think. But I think Cloud currently is the best because he's just simply amazing in almost every way. He has the best neutral in the game with limit camping. His up air is absurd. Good edge guarding. His disjoint to lag ratio is absurd. Like, he has such little lag for his disjoint size. Just a suffocating neutral. This character is so good. The only thing he kind of has against him is a recovery, but even that's workable. It's not as bad as people would lead you to believe. Diddy Kong, just second best neutral in the game, and you kind of see that as a theme here with the best characters. This is a very neutral based game because of how defensive it's come to be. Diddy Kong, just amazing kill confirms in neutral. He's a lot like pre-patch Sheik in a way, in that he can rack up damage safely with Banana, and even Banana playing very defensively with retreating bananas, getting bananas. He also has probably the best kill confirms in the game with down tilt to up smash, Banana to a smash attack. He's got just a plethora of options to cover any scenario in any matchup. He's got a command grab, a projectile, just a great character. Sort of similar like Cloud. The only thing he has against him is his up B is not that great. But he has so many options, and like Cloud, both these characters have a lot of options to work around that. So while it might be a weaker point of the character, when you compare it to how amazing they are, it really isn't that bad. It's just their other attributes are so amazing to see. It's just a one attribute these two characters have, their up Bs, that may not be quite as good, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just something that's not amazing about them, their up Bs. I think they're clearly workable though, both of these characters. So next, I think we can see a lot of characters such as Rosalina, Sonic. All these characters I think are really close to Diddy and Cloud. Where is he? Mario, Fox. If I can find Fox. There he is. I'll go ahead and talk about these characters. I do think these are the next four here on the list currently. Dabuz is showing everyone that Rosalina is still top tier. Dabuz might be the #1 Smash 4 player right now. He's been very consistent, whereas Zero hasn't been so much. I don't think Rosalina is quite as good as Diddy or Cloud right now, just because she has a worse matchup spread. Cloud and Diddy probably go even or beat everybody. I don't think they lose any matchups. Diddy might lose a little bit to Rosalina, maybe a little bit to a character that doesn't really zone him out like Olimar, but I think at worst you could argue 45-55 for some of Diddy's matchups. Rosalina and then Cloud, I think Cloud goes even or beats everybody. Rosalina, you certainly can't argue that. She has some bad matchups, which is why I put her at 3. Meta Knight destroys her. She has issues with characters that can edge guard her really well. Zero Suit gives her trouble. Then we got Sonic. Sonic is, we're finally seeing a player like Wrath who's actually playing Sonic. Finally, someone's playing Sonic the way he's meant to be played, the optimal way, which Sonic, I think, is a top 5 character if he's played optimally, which is a very, very campy, lame game where you get a slight lead and you just run the whole time. And I know that's terrible to watch. A lot of people consider that lame, but that's optimal. If you're playing to win, that's how you should be playing Sonic. I think if he's not played that way, if he's played more of an aggressive style, he's more like a high tier character. Mario next. Mario, I think, has to be considered I think he is a top 5 character at this point. We've seen Ally do really well at certain points. Well, he didn't do that well at, I think it was CEO, but he has taken multiple sets off Zero since Zero's come back. So we've seen a lot of results from Mario, which I think can bring him up. And I think the Sheik nerfs have helped Mario a lot. This might be a personal thing, but I sort of see Mario as a better version of Sheik right now. He has great edge guarding like Sheik, great frame data like Sheik, except unlike Sheik, he can actually kill. He has a ridiculously good up smash. He's got a kill throw. So I think that character is really good, and Ally showing him just how great of a character he really is. It's just a combination of frame data, amazing smashes, and amazing edge guarding. Fox, probably your best rushdown character right now. Larry Lure shows just how good this character is, still getting good results. Next, I think Sheik. I would put Sheik next for sure. Sheik, I think she's a character that's overrated a bit right now. She's still having good results because she has great players like Mr. R and Void still playing her and maining her. I think they're overperforming the character. I attribute a lot of their success more to how great of players they are than the character. I think Sheik in her current form is just too honest to be considered a top 5 character. Yeah, she's still got a great neutral. She's still got great edge guarding. She still has great frame data. But the character just can't kill, and she's too honest right now. What I mean by honest is she's very prone to getting janked out. It's very common to see Sheik work a character to 150, and then, you know what? Sheik gets back aired by somebody at 70%, and Sheik dies. It's just a character that can't kill, and she has a very real weakness now that I don't think the top 6 characters I've named before her have. That's why I have her this low. You see stuff like Sheik's even losing to random characters like Bowser, like Vinny Sheik and Void Sheik both lost to Lord Mix's Bowser at MomoCon. And I think Sheik can really lose to a lot of characters right now. Zero even commented that he thinks Donkey Kong beats Sheik right now just because of how devastating other characters' kill options have and how devastating the effects of Rage are in Smash 4. Sheik is a character that, yeah, if you play her perfectly and you don't make mistakes, she can be a top 3, top 2, maybe best in game. But the fact is that just doesn't translate because in a real tournament, when you're playing amazing players, they're going to make a read on you. You're going to make a mistake. Something's going to happen where you're going to get prone to rage. You're going to die from rage. Opponents rage, somewhat often. It's just what happens. Okay, next I would put Mewtwo, and it's amazing what Mewtwo's done. Like, this character has gone from worst in the game to best in the game. Mewtwo's just really, really, really good right now. He's got a lot of range. His tail's ridiculous. Shadow Ball is amazing for neutral, spacing out people with Shadow Balls. His fair is stupidly powerful. His up smash is really strong. And he's got probably this, I would say definitely the second best kill throw in the game behind Ness. It might even be better than Ness's in certain situations because unlike Ness's kill throw, Mewtwo's goes straight up. I mean, if Mewtwo grabs you at 125 or so, no matter where you are on the stage, you're dead because her kill throw is up. At least if Ness grabs you on the other side of the stage, you aren't dying super early. Okay, after Mewtwo, I would put, to round up my top 10, I would actually have 2 characters tied for the number 10 spot. I would put Bayonetta and, where is she at? Zero Suit Samus. I think that these characters are really close right now, and they're really similar in how they work, and then they specialize in killing people off the top. But I think it's really close. I think Zero Suit probably is a little better neutral, but Bayonetta I think gets more off confirms. Of course, Bayonetta doesn't have the super laggy grab that Zero Suit has, and Zero Suit is a character that I think everyone considered top 2 at some point, but the nerfs have really hurt her. Zero Suit is a lot worse, and I think she as a character is overperforming just because she has Nairo maining her, who's probably a top 2 talent in Smash 4 in the world. So still a good character. I still think she's barely hanging on to top tier, but she might continue to drop over time. And for me, this rounds out the top tiers. I think that these characters are defining the meta at the moment. We've seen characters since my last tier list who, in my opinion, are rising, like Diddy Kong, Sonic, Mario, mainly because of Diddy Kong, his great results across the board. Anti, Zanoto, Zero, still doing a lot of characters doing great things with Diddy Kong. Ally really stepping it up with Mario, as well as Anti, who won CEO. Just a lot of great things, and I think if you're serious about winning tournaments, you really should be playing one of these characters. Now, there's one character I did not put in top tier that I will put next. I think that would surprise a lot of people, and that's Ryu. I think Ryu is still overrated, and I've been saying this since my last tier list. I think this character is massively overrated. I do not think he's top 10, and the reason is because he's very prone to camping and getting zoned out, and we saw this. We saw Trella, the #1 Ryu, didn't even make it out of pools as CEO. He got he was probably predicted to get like top 8, and he ended up going like 2-2 or something in the tournament. He did really bad, and we still don't see Ryu's get a lot of results. And I think the times we have seen Trella do really well is that he's playing really aggressive opponents like Larry Lurr or Foe that don't know how to, or not playing the matchup properly. When you play Ryu, you need to run away the whole time, and if you do that, he really can't do much because he has mobility issues and he doesn't have a lot of good ranged options. And Ryu is good because True Shoryuken and his confirms out of his tilts are ridiculous, but outside of that, he really doesn't have a lot. So that's why I think this character is not all that good. I mean, he's good. Like, he's still like top of high tier in my opinion. I just don't think he's a top tier. And I think if you play a really campy game, he struggles. Okay, after Ryu, I'm going to put Corrin. And so far, I put my tier list has been pretty similar to what it was last time. I guess you all can compare. I don't remember exactly where I put everything, but Corrin, just that character, disjoints, really good. Her side Bs are really stupid, really good move. Just solid sword character all around. Not as good as Cloud, but still really good. I put Ness next, and I'm going to try to go a little faster because I don't want this video to be ridiculously long. And the top tiers really are the meat of the discussion anyways. Ness, still hanging on as a top high tier, top high tier, maybe low top tier type character. He's good, he's got his ridiculous kill throw, good disjoints, but he still has issues recovering and he has mobility issues. Meta Knight, I think obviously has dropped quite a bit since the nerfs. Was probably maybe a top 5 character. Definitely top 10 character prior to the nerfs. Still really useful as a counterpick to characters like Rosalina, but generally just doesn't really have the oomph he used to have. He really struggles in neutral, doesn't have a whole lot of range. Next, I put Villager, still staying around the same spot. Renai is still repping this character. Still good zoning character. Bowling Ball is pretty stupid, really good edge guarding. Yoshi I put next. Yoshi still not getting a lot of representation, so I think I would still consider this character sticking somewhere around the low high tier. Great frame data, but just not enough representation. Okay, next put Pikachu. Pikachu continuing to drop on tier list as ESAM's results continue to drop. Pikachu is a character that has good neutral, but just has 2 main issues: can't kill and has no range, and that makes this character quite prone to rage. And I think that this character is sort of like just a kind of a worse version of Sheik at this point, to be honest. I think is a pretty fair comparison. Next, I put Toon Link. Hyuga's still showing us what this character can do. Not a whole lot has changed in this regard. Still kind of hanging on as a character that can hang with the top tiers at times, but isn't going to win a national quite yet. And I put a little flyer at the end because I think this character has gotten a lot better since the buffs, and I think we've seen players like Mr. E do well with this character, pull her out occasionally. I think Marth's buffs have really helped him out. It's just so much easier to get Tipper now. And this character is really scary. I mean, he can F smash you at the ledge and you die at 50. It's properly spaced. Like, it's a solid sword character, not as good as Corner Cloud, but I think this character is like low high tier at the moment, maybe top of mid tier, but really kind of in that echelon of becoming more of a tournament threat. And definitely a character that's rising right now. And that's all for the high tiers. I think the high tiers can definitely compete with the top tiers, but generally it's more on a situational basis. Okay, next with mid tiers, I'm going to try to go fast through these. Just want to say the mid tiers, these are all really close. It's basically impossible to order the mid tiers. So even the character I'm putting at top of mid tier, which is going to be Luigi, I don't even think is pretty close to viability in terms of the character I put last in mid tiers. So yeah, Luigi just pretty good, but just not quite as good as Mario. Traction issues, has issues getting camped. Greninja, I think Greninja's dropping a bit because he had that really good tournament. I think it was in London. I don't remember the name of it, but he hasn't done a whole lot since. And this character is still not getting much representation. Captain Falcon, still kind of hanging in there as a character that can compete, but his god-awful recovery is going to keep him in the high mid to low high tier range, I think, indefinitely. Character next, I think Mega Man is really coming on strong. I think Kamamushi is the name of the Japanese Mega Man player that's been tearing it up in Japan with Mega Man. We'll see how he goes, how he does when he comes in for Evo, which I believe he is making that. Mega Man, I would like to see how much of that is attributed to the matchups he's getting in Japan. Like, I know Japan, for example, does not have a good Rosalina like we have over here. It doesn't have a top level Rosalina, so I would like to see how Mega Man does against players like the Buzz to see what he can do, because I think some of the top American players might more often play characters that give Mega Man trouble. So we'll see how he does. But Mega Man still definitely a character that's on the rise. We'll see if that can be sustained or if it's going to be kind of like Greninja or Toon Link, where that success kind of just stays the same or starts dropping. But definitely a character to watch. Next I put Rob. I think this might be even a little optimistic for Rob. I think he's dropping, and we actually had an announcement from 8-Bit Man, who's actually, I don't know if he's dropping Rob, but he did announce he's going all Diddy Kong for now because he wants to win. And that kind of shows you that Rob, he has too many fatal flaws. His recovery's too exploitable. He can't land. His hurt box is huge. He has a really good zoning, and gyro is really nice, but the character just has some big flaws that make him more of a counterpick character than a solid solo main. And it's kind of the same issue with Donkey Kong. I think Donkey Kong's an amazing counterpick character, but he has a lot of really bad matchups with the top tiers, and he has too many exploitable flaws like his recovery, his lack of landing options, this huge hurt box that really kind of make him a counterpick only type character. Like, there's DK Will who does pretty well, but he eventually runs into a Diddy Kong or Rosalina or Sonic that just destroys him. So it's a character that can do well, but needs to be played on a very situational counterpick basis. Peach, I put next. Peach, again, just kind of a character that's, I think, has some exploitable flaws. Her floatiness, she's bad really has trouble against sword characters, and I think we're seeing that being a major theme in the metagame right now. Like, big disjoints win. We see Mewtwo and Cloud and Rosalina, characters like that have these big disjointed hitboxes that really shut down a lot of the cast. And I think Peach is one of those. And Peach is still a character now. He's not getting a ton of reps. There's some from, I think, Umeki from Japan, and then there's Slayers in the US, but still not getting a ton of rep and still not getting any results that would warrant her being any higher on the tier list, in my opinion. Next, okay, here's a set of characters. This is one of the biggest differences from my prior tier list, I think. The pits, Dark Pit and Regular Pit, which I'm going to still consider one character. I've dropped them quite a bit because my opinion on these characters has changed. I think now they've got a couple problems. They're too honest, and their recovery is just really, really exploitable, even though it has good distance. These characters, if they had something that was really good, they would be higher, but the characters just lose to jank because they play very standard, but they'll run up against characters that have something amazing. They just don't have anything amazing, and it's making it so there's really no reason to play these characters when you can play, say, why would you play Pit when you could play, say, Mario, another basic character, but that character has something that's not honest, like his up smash or his cape. You know, it's just superior options with Mario as compared to the Pits. Really no reason to play these characters. A little too honest. Yeah, you can play them and you can do well. It's just there's really no reason to play them. Like, you'll struggle more compared to another character. They're just too honest, I think. And then they have the Exploder recovery to boot. Next, put Ike. Where is Ike at? Just a character kind of staying the same. He's just overshadowed by Cloud. Really no reason to play Ike. He has Exploder recovery, but he still has what makes him good. He's still powerful and has a big disjoint. So he's a character who can do well. Just no reason really to play this character. And I think we'll see him continue to slip unless we see a Cloud nerf. If we see a Cloud nerf in a future patch, then I think Ike could potentially go up. Okay, next I put two characters that I think are kind of on the same wavelength right now. Lucario and Wario, both very what many would consider janky characters because they have one gimmick that they rely on to kill you really early, and if they aren't able to exploit their gimmick, then they really struggle, and that's Wario's Waft and Lucario's Aura. Other than their gimmicks, they don't have very good movesets overall. They both have mediocre frame data and mediocre kill options outside of their one janky thing. So very consistent characters that you can use, but it's hard to do well consistently with them. Next, I'll put Bowser. I think this character, I put him about the same place because we haven't seen a whole lot from Lord Mix outside of Momocon. If Lord Mix continues to do well, and I don't know if he's going to I don't know if he went to CEO, and I don't know if he's going to Evo, but if we see him make more runs, maybe we'll have to consider him better. But I still think Bowser is a good character, but still not as good as Donkey Kong overall. Just a slightly worse version of DK, I think. Okay, next I'll put Pac-Man, and we actually see Pac-Man. We've seen him a little bit recently. I think Abadongo even pulled him out. I don't think he won any games with him in top 8, but we saw Abadongo pull him out in top 8 at CEO. Still, pretty good character that can be played kind of as a counter pick. A lot of these mid-tier characters are counter pick characters. Pretty good zoning, pretty tricky, but I think at this point in the meta, everyone figured out the Pac-Man. Everyone knows the Pac-Man matchup. When Abadongo was having his great runs with Pac-Man earlier in the meta, the first year this game was out, the first Evo, no one really knew the Pac-Man matchup because no one had played it on Abadongo's level. Now we've seen several Pac-Mans play Pac-Man on that level, and the top players have learned the matchup, and that's kind of been it for Pac-Man. Unfortunately, I don't think this character is going to go anywhere. Okay, next I'm going to put where's he at? Lucas. Good zoning with this character, but he's a little too slow overall, and just no real reason to play him over Ness. Still a good character, he still can compete, but it's just like, why wouldn't you just play Ness? Next I put, where is he at? Olimar, solid character, but he's a counter pick only character. We see the Buzz rep this character, and we saw him win some games with Olimar at CEO, but he's a character that I think actually has a purpose in the meta, is that he does really well against Diddy Kong. Some Diddy say that Diddy loses that matchup. I don't know about that, but I think it might be more even. But he is a zoning character that can give some of the top tiers like Diddy Kong problems. But he's held back because his recovery is just horrendous, and his disadvantaged state is really bad. So that's going to kind of make him a counterpick only character. Also doesn't do too well against swords. Next, put Bowser Jr. We still see random Bowser Jr.'s come out and just beat people. Like we saw Jade beat Trella round 2 of Pools as CEO. So Bowser Jr. held back by the fact that he doesn't have a disjoint. His approach isn't the best. His recovery is really bad. Soft spot makes it so he doesn't get his up beat back. But still, a decent character that can be played. He's just not. You're just gonna struggle with him compared to another character. But it doesn't mean he can't compete. It's just harder for him to compete. We fit another sort of a counterpick character, but it's really hard to solo main. She does well if she can play her ledge camping style. If she's forced to approach, she really struggles. Next, Robin. Robin, bad recovery, bad mobility, can zone kind of, but overall her zoning and mobility is just too slow to really to compete. She can compete, like we see Dath do pretty well. I think Dath won some big games and did pretty well as CEO, but just the character just really struggles. Put Dr. Mario, just an inferior clone to Mario, worse recovery, worse mobility, worse combo game, a little bit more powerful, and he can be played, and he still has the good aspects of Mario, like good frame data and such, but overall, he's just inferior to Mario. And then the last character I put, which is Little Mac. Little Mac, I think, has to be mid-tier. I kind of want to put him low-tier, but I think he has to be mid-tier just because he's really good as a counterpick character. Like, I don't understand why we don't see more people do Little Mac counterpicks on FD. Like, this character is really good on FD against a lot of the top tiers, especially ones like, say, Diddy Kong, who can't really edge guard that well. But the character, of course, is way too exploitable on platform stages to be considered any higher than this, even though he has some ridiculous traits on stage, like really good kill confirms with down tilt to up B. He has KO punch, which is stupid. Really super armor smashes. You guys know all this stuff. This is a very scary character, but he's too bad on he's so awful on platform stages and off stage to be any higher than this. So yeah, that's it for my mid-tier characters. I don't think we've seen a lot of huge changes. These characters can compete, but it's just harder for them to do it. A lot of them are kind of counterpick only stages characters, or they're overshadowed by other characters. Okay, low tier, trying to go fast through these. I put Kirby first. Kirby, I think he has to be low tier because he just struggles to approach way too much. His approach is way, way too bad for him to be anything higher. He has a good combo game, but that doesn't really matter if he can't get in. Game & Watch, sort of similar to Kirby, bad approach game, and he's way too light. And he doesn't have enough tools to make up for being that light. Like, he has some good traits, like he's small, his up smash has super armor on it, good combo game, his nair is really good, but overall just too light and lacking approach. Falco, just a subpar inferior clone to Fox, really. Just a slow version of Fox. Yeah, if he gets in, he can do like 40% damage off a combo, but he shouldn't be getting in. Zoned out, and he's exploded recovery, and he's really light. Next I put Roy. Roy, inferior version of Marth. Just not that great in neutral, not that great at recovery. He can compete, it's just nothing. All his moves, aside from maybe his F smash, are just kind of not that great. They're just kind of average or slightly below average. Samus has her zoning game, and she's been buffed quite a bit, but overall just a little too slow to compete. But I think she can be viable as a counterpick character in certain matchups. Next I put Link, just an inferior version of Toon Link. He's just too slow to keep up, gets really punished by power shielding, has a really bad grab. Just it's not that he can't do things, it's just really hard for him to do things. Zelda, I think Zelda's improved a lot in the past few patches. I know we've seen like some results. There's one guy in Florida, I don't remember his name, who's done pretty well with Zelda. She is a lot. I think Zelda's better than people think. Like her bear and up air both kill like 80%. She has her elevator, which kills stupidly early. Her up smash is still stupidly early. Like she's really powerful. Yeah, she has bad hitboxes, bad specials, bad neutral, but she kills so early that I think that makes her not like bottom 5. Okay, next put Charizard. We really haven't seen much happen with Charizard. He's still not used, even though he's been buffed. It's just, used another heavy. Just frame data not so great. Big hurt box, can't land. Pretty bad recovery. Shulk, sort of like Charizard. They've improved his frame data, but it's still not good. He's still just, his tilts are bad. He just doesn't have enough good things about him. It's just, there's zero reason to play Shulk over Cloud. Cloud is a superior version of Shulk. DDD still is not my poor man DDD still has gotten no buffs. Bad frame data. It's just Gordos are bad. He just has no approach, no neutral. Just really bad character, unfortunately. Duck Hunt. We've actually seen some results in Japan. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. I think he can reward creativity, but overall it just doesn't have the tools of other characters. Doesn't have good enough zoning. His recovery is god-awful, and he has trouble killing. Palutena is one character that's been talked about a lot because of Palutena beat Zero at CEO. And it's not that Palutena can't compete. Like, this game's really balanced. I think all the characters can compete in tournament except for the bottom tier, which I'll talk about in a minute. Like, Palutena can compete, but you're just competing with much fewer tools. It's like, yeah, you want to play Palutena, that's fine, but you're basically playing a character and not having access to specials or tilts because her specials and tilts are so bad. So it's like, all right, yeah, you can beat. It's like going into a game. Yeah, you can beat someone with only aerials and normals, but like, why? Like, there's no reason to play Palutena. Like, she just doesn't have anything, really. Just play another character. It's not that she can't win. It's just you're basically playing with less tools, as I said. Okay, next I put Ganondorf. Ganon's always there. Just you have to put him slow in the tier list because at top level he's god awful, but he's a way higher in the tier list when it comes to low and mid skill levels. He's so exploitable. His recovery, his neutral, his frame data, all really bad. But if you make that read, he can compete. And the you know what? I just realized I forgot Lucina. And I meant to put Lucina up here. Oops, I don't know how I missed her. I meant to put her up here right after Wario. Lucina, just I'll go ahead and talk about her. Really, no reason to play her over Marth. Just a worse version of Marth, but she still has pretty good frame data. Her smashes are really good, are pretty good. She can kill you really early near the ledge. You get F smashed. Really good recovery that's hard to mess with. Shield breaker, decent, just very average character. So I think she's pretty much in the middle of the tier list. Okay, finally, bottom tier, I put Jigglypuff all by her lonesome self. And I don't know why they won't buff Jigglypuff. They need to. She's basically a joke character at this point. She's the only character, I think, in the entire cast that really just can't compete in tournament. And the only one, I think, is not viable currently. Like, you conceivably could take any character, any other character, I think, and make it out of pools at, say, CEO. Or pull an upset over a big player, like we saw someone do that with Palutena. Saw Zero get beat by a Palutena. I think almost any other character, maybe not Ganon, I don't know, but even we saw Raycalm do okay against Zero. But anyways, I think any character except for Jigglypuff is kind of capable of competing in tournament, but Jigglypuff's just so bad, just lightest character in the game, no range, no combos, bad approach, just the character, unfortunately, I think is the worst character by a significant margin right now in the game. She's almost become the Pichu of Smash 4. She's kind of like become a joke character, unfortunately, and I hope they do buff her. So guys, that's kind of my little rundown and updated tier list. I've seen some changes. I think my biggest changes have been like Dark Pit and Pit. Bayonetta, of course, changed from my last tier list because she's been nerfed. Zero Suit, I think, has gone down a lot, and I think that's very understandable. I think that the nerfs we've really seen in the meta so far, 1.1.6, we've seen Nairo have some iffy placings, and I think we'll continue to see that. This character is just not as good as she used to be because of all the nerfs. And I think we're seeing a surge of a few characters like Marth, I think, is really coming on strong. And Mega Man is the other big character to watch. We'll see if Kamamushi can continue his Japan dominance in America. If he's able to do really well at CEO, I'm definitely going to move Mega Man, or not CEO, Evo. I'm definitely going to move Mega Man to high tier, at least. So, yeah, definitely I would say high tier. So, it's kind of a cool era of Smash 4 right now, 1.1.6, because there's no definitive best character. Even though I think Cloud's the best, I think all the top tiers are pretty close to each other, and definitely any of the top tiers and probably any of the high tiers are capable of winning at Evo if they get the right player playing them. So guys, please comment below, let me know what you think about this tier list and my opinions on the current meta. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. That's all for now. You all have a good one. Take care.